Welcome back. This is the Goods Fam on Twitch. I am Philly Good. I'm going to be on the MPCX today, going through the MPC Bible, and we're on chapter 20, Progressive Drum Layering Techniques. So if you'd like to follow along, you can load up the tutorial files for that chapter 20. And please follow, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. It'll let you know that I'm here every day, 10 to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And just before we get started, I'll take a quick sip of water. And I forgot to wear a hat today. Let's wear this hat here. All right, now we're set. I believe we're all set. All right. All right. Progressive drum layering techniques. I'll start up the MPC, turn on the speakers. In this tutorial, we look at how we can overcome pad layer limitations to apply filters and envelopes uniquely to each element of a drum layer. We'll also look at how we can convert our drum layering experiments into standalone samples. I'm just going to load up the chat here so I can see if anybody's chatting. And shout out to Roger Wilco 187 and Jace1 Music, who recently followed. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. It's helping build towards my goal. I'm looking for 50 followers. That's my follower goal right now, as you can see on the side of the screen. Hi, Andrew. Good to see you're here today, man. I'm just going to put the chat down, though, for a moment. And I'm going to jump into chapter 20 real quick. So, sculpting together sample elements. Chapter 20, let's see, where is that? There it is, progressive drum layering. So we're going to load in there. We're going to assign the clap decay sample to pad A01. And the wood snare sample to pad A02. We're going to preview both those sounds now. Okay. In this tutorial, we're going to layer these sounds together. However, we're only going to combine specific portions of each sample. Select the clap on pad A01 and go to Program Edit and press the Envelopes button, Envelope Amp screen. With this clap, I want to isolate only the decay portion of the sound. So tap on the Amp Envelope Attack parameter, and while continually previewing pad A01, turn your data wheel anti-clockwise until the sharp attack of the clap has completely disappeared. A setting of 78 should do the trick. Okay, so here on pad A01, we've created the decay part of our layered sound. Now over to the snare on pad A02, where we want to keep that lovely attack and lose the decay. So we can replace it with, let's use the other amp envelope available to us, the AHDS envelope. Where is that? AHDS? I really don't know. This is new to me, so to access this, we need 4 parameters to adjust. You can see the dots right there. Attack is the same as we've seen in the AD envelope, and we have the hold H, decay D, and sustain S. So let's see how these all work to allow us to shape our snare. Firstly, we're going to turn the sustain value down to 0. Okay, and if you listen to pad A02, it's nothing but a short click. By giving the sample no sustain whatsoever, we've removed pretty much all the audio from our sample apart from a very brief initial attack. Now we're going to turn the decay to a value of 59. Now if you preview it, you can hear a bit more of the attack. As you can see from the envelope graph, the delay, the decay is controlling the way the sound makes its way to the sustain portion of the envelope. The higher the decay value, the longer it takes for the sound to reach the sustain you set. With a sustain of 0, the decay portion is basically controlling a standard fade out, similar to the decay of an AD envelope. Okay, as you can see from the graph, the hold value is literally holding the initial volume before letting the decay portion take over. The higher the hold value, the more of the sample will play before it enters the decay portion of the envelope. So we're going to preview A02, and you should hear that by holding the sample for a while, it's allowing us to control the amount of snare or body that will be heard before the sound fades out in the D to S portion of our AHDS envelope. This is pretty sweet as it gives you a very nice way to precisely mold your sounds. Our new snare is now tighter sounding and has minimal decay. It's mostly attack and body. If you want more body, simply increase the hold value a bit more. If you want a longer decay, increase the decay value. Now head over to Global and select pad A03. Under simultaneous play, choose A01 and A02. Now preview pad A03 to hear our newly painted snare. If you wish, you can further tweak each layer to taste. For example, if you want the clap decay element to be more prominent, select A01 and in Global increase the pad level setting. Let's see, pad level setting. So this method is a more refined method of layering compared to just slapping 2 or 3 sounds on top of each other. And there's no need to stop at snares and claps. Try the same technique with kicks. Take a booming bass drum and layer it with a thin old vinyl kick. Try shaving off the attack on the booming kick and maybe take a little decay off the vinyl kick, and you should get a nice crunchy kick drum with plenty of low end. Wow, good tip. Layering with pad parameters. So we also have another way to paint with sample layers, this time using the layer specific start and end program parameters. Load the classic clap sample. Where are we loading that to? Number 4, I guess. So we're going to load it in the project, assign it to layer 1 on pad A04. Now assign the wood snare sample to layer 2 of pad A04. Wood snare? I wonder if it'll pop up. There it is, yeah, okay. Oh, wait. I did it on the wrong pad or what? Whoops. What was it, the wood snare? Alright, so that's what we wanted there. It's the classic clap on layer 1 and the wood snare on layer 2 of pad A04. So as we've seen previously, when we set the slice parameter to pad, the start and end points assigned to each layer on a pad are independent of the global start and end point of the sample itself. They are unique to this particular instance of that sample. Here I'm going to perform a similar task to the envelope sculpting we did earlier, but this time I'm going to isolate the desired portion of each sample using the pad start and pad endpoints on each layer, thus negating the need for using simultaneous place settings over multiple pads. First, let's set up the wood snare sample. As we don't have a layer solo option, briefly head over to go to Samples, tab 2, and set the level for layer 1 to 0. Okay, this way when the preview pad A04 when we preview the pad A04, we're only hearing layer 2, the wood snare. Okay. Now return to the Samples tab 1. Select layer 2. Oh, I think that's what I was on though. Oh no. Let me go back here. Wait. Okay. I don't think it matters because I was... Once you go in here, they're separated into the layers you want. Okay, so we're gonna go to we're gonna go back to Samples, tab 1. We're gonna select layer 2, and we're gonna start reducing the end value right here down from 20571. Use either the tap and data wheel method, the Q links in column 2, or simply drag your finger on the red endpoint flag to the left. Okay, so you just drag it like that, whoop, or you can go like that, or you can, what was it? Just tap and turn the data wheel. Okay, whichever way you prefer. So as you reduce the pad end value, keep on hitting pad A04 to hear the effect this is having. Okay, we just want to isolate the initial attack portion of the sample. So they found that a value around of 1857 worked well. So .50 for me will be good enough. So we're going to add a little tail length. Now briefly return to Samples tab 2. Set the layer 2 level to 0. Oops. Now return to level for the layer 1, and we're going to put that back to 127. Now, when you preview pad A04, you can hear just layer 1, the clap. So we're going to repeat the procedure for the classic clap on layer 1 to isolate the decay portion of the sample. So to do this, we're going to start increasing the start value. Once again, as you increase the value, keep previewing pad A04 until everything sounds good. They used a value of 1027. I'll go with 1025. Sounds pretty good. So all that's left now is to mix the two layers together, which can be done in the Samples tab too. You just have to adjust the level settings for each layer. An interesting way to do this is to set the layer 2 snare level to 127. Okay, and layer 1 clap to 0. Then, while previewing continually on pad A04, 1, gradually bringing up the level of the clap decay until it mixes perfectly with the snare attack. Let's see. So that's it. They set it to a level of 110, which is what I just put it at there. So sounds pretty good to me. Hello to everybody out there. If you're here, please jump in the chat. We'd really appreciate it. You have to be in here for a minimum of 10 minutes before you can hop in there. But yeah, please do. I'm trying to get a goal of 5 people in the chat. I also added a few widgets and stuff so you can interact a little bit more. So hopefully that's all looking good. Let me just test it out. Actually, I'm going to throw something in the chat myself. I haven't been in the chat today, so let's see. I want to see if it does anything cool on the screen when you put emojis. I don't see anything. No, nothing's really happening for me. I would maybe have to be watching myself on another device instead of being on here. I don't know if I see what you guys see. But yeah, enjoy. I added a few widgets, so hopefully it's a little more interesting. So let's get back into it here. Applying filters to individual layers. Here's a great way to fatten up a single kick sample. On pad A05, load and assign the deep kick sample to layer 1. Button twice, and you'll be at the envelope filter screen. In this screen, you can apply a number of different filters to your pad. A filter is a form of EQ, which lets you control which frequencies are audible in your sound. Filters are applied to the entire pad, so if you wish to apply a filter to a particular layer, you'll need to use the simultaneous play method of layering, just like we did in the previous example when applying different envelopes to different layers. On the left-hand side of the screen, set a filter type of MPC. Right there, I guess. Boop, 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 boop. I didn't see it there. There it is. Okay. So it's the last option on the list. This is an emulation of the MPC 3000 low pass filter, and it's literally only going to let low frequencies pass, filtering out all the high frequencies above a specified cutoff level. Start to reduce the cutoff value until you get a really low and booming kick sound. Try 47. Okay. Now go to Program Edit, Samples. Let's see, Program Edit, Samples, and set the tune for this layer to -6. So I believe that's the semi. They refer to it as tune because it tunes down the pitch. So where would they want it? -6? Alright. So now select pad A06 and assign the same deep kick sample to layer 1. So okay. Leave this untouched. Now go to Global. Simultaneous play to A05. Preview pad A06. Now you've got a significantly more powerful kick with a huge amount of bottom end, but still retaining the higher frequency elements found in the original kick. Oh, thanks, Andrew, man. Yeah, I put in a little bit of work to fix it up, and hopefully it will get better in the future. It's just the first version of getting the widgets set up, so I'll probably learn to play with those and make them look better over time, and maybe you know, color match and stuff. I know that the coloring's not the greatest right now, but yeah, we'll fix that over time. But for now, that's what it is. Thank you for saying that, though. I appreciate it. So, because we're filtering and tuning down one of the layers, you avoid any possible phasing problems that can sometimes occur when layering identical samples on top of each other. Converting your layers into standalone / portable samples. Once you've created your newly designed sounds, you can of course leave them. You'll want your creation to be a lot more portable, so it's commonplace to convert your new creations into standalone samples. There are currently 2 ways we can convert a pad into a standalone sample. We can flatten the pad, or we can resample it. So flatten pad. When we flatten a pad, we are creating an audio snapshot of the current state of your pad, converting all your layers, parameters, and effects into a single stereo sample. Let's flatten the layered snare we created using pad parameters on pad A04. Flatten pad is effectively destructive, as the flattening process completely resets the current pad to the default settings, but the original samples used in the pad are still retained in your project. Copying your layered pad. If you'd like to keep a copy of the pre-flattened pad for future reference, I would suggest you make a copy to a different pad, perhaps to a different pad bank. You can use the copy button method that I've explained previously, and for example, you can hold down the copy button. Oh, whoops. We're going to hold down the copy button, tap A04, the source pad, tap A08, the destination pad, and a release copy. Now pad A08 contains the copy of your layered pad. Boom. To flatten your pad, select pad A04, and we're going to hit the flatten pad icon at the top of the screen. It's like a little downward arrow. And this brings up the flatten pad screen. This confirms that you are flattening pad A04. The audio tail setting is useful for when you have a delay type effect on your pad, as this will extend the time the MPC records the pad. Otherwise, set this to 0 seconds. Finally, you can set a custom name for the resulting sample, such as flatten snare. Hit do it. With your pad layer flattened to a single sample, you can now continue editing and processing this new standalone sample. One use of flattened sample is to expand the number of FX plugins you can apply to a particular pad. For example, insert the maximum 4 FX plugins. Flatten the pad, insert 4 different FX plugins over the flattened version, and repeat as many times as you need to. Wow. That's wild. Alright, so the main advantage of flattened pad is it's really quick. 2 taps and you have made a standalone sample from your pad. So I didn't realize you could do that to get more effects than 4 set up on a pad if you wanted to. So that's really, really neat. You can just keep layering more and more and more. Interesting. Sip of water. Thank you for joining today. If you can, please jump in the chat, and if you've been here for 10 minutes or more, you'll be able to. You can also play with emojis. They should be jumping up on the screen now. I'm not sure, but hopefully they show up in the boxed area on the side probably. And anything else, you can use the bits and things now. I'm not sure how that all works exactly, but I did set a bit goal of 100, and I believe when you do the bits, they like fall down the like Plinko game into the hole, maybe, I don't know. So if you want to give that a shot, should be cool. It's good to go. All right, so resampling your pad. The main limitation of flatten pad is that it only flattens the currently selected pad and completely ignores any simultaneous play pads configured with it. So while it works fine on the standard layered pad A04, it's not suitable for the simultaneous play layered pads on A03 and A06. To create a flattened version of these layered sounds, we need to use resampling. Go to sampler mode from the main menu page. Sampler, where are you? All right, and from here, this time you can see that you can set the input to resample left plus right. Where do you do that? This simply records the internal audio being created by your MPC before it's sent out to the audio interface. So we're going to try it out. Press pad A03 to hear the sculpted snare that we made previously. You can see the recording meter rise as the sound plays. Changing the rec gain dial will do nothing as we are not using the actual recording inputs of our interface. You'll probably find that the sample is clipping. The level meter is heavily in the red, yeah. Unfortunately, there's no way to change the input gain when resampling. So my usual workaround is to head over to the channel mixer, programs, okay, and temporarily reduce the level for your entire program. Remember to use the level meter on the screen. Keep hitting pad A03 while you reduce the level. And stop once you see the level stop clipping in the red. So, looks like it's right there. A setting of minus 2.50 decibels works well. So I had minus 3, but you can go even more specific. Yeah, gets even closer to the line. So we're going to head back to the sampler page and press ARM, and then press pad A03. This should trigger the recording process. Press the stop button to stop recording. Preview the sound with play. Name it Sculpted Snare. I didn't necessarily hear anything there, but why is it not recognizing it? I think something's not working here. So we have it armed. Should it also have the rec arm on? I don't understand. I'm going to go back to main, go back to sampler, arm it, hit pad A03. It's supposed to trigger the recording process, but it's not. No, you can't use the rec arm in here. The instructions don't seem to be working out for me here. So I'm just gonna hit record and the snare at the same time. Okay. Now we're gonna name it Sculpted Snare. We're gonna set assign to pad to A07 now and press edit, and it'll keep this sample and also immediately take the opportunity to top and tail it in sample edit. Okay. If you did reduce the program level, remember to change it back, load up the program I did something wrong there, but I think you got the idea. So we're going to go back to, what was it? Channel mixer. We're going to put the program level back to what it was, and we're going to now load up the advanced layering.xpm. We'll go back over this again in the future, and hopefully by then I'll understand why that didn't work for me as it was supposed to. But let's load that up. Advanced layer.xpm. We're going to replace it, and boom. So this will show their version of the techniques they used in this tutorial. So this program also contains resampled and flattened snare sounds on pads A07 and A08. All right. All right. So we finished that chapter pretty quick. We're on chapter 21 now, sound design and production tricks. In this chapter, we'll take a look at some classic MPC sound design techniques. Emulating vintage sampler crunch. One of the most desirable drum sounds for a beatmaker is the classic 12-bit sound of samplers such as the Akai S900 or 950 and the EMU SP12. While you're never going to emulate this sound exactly, as much of it is down to hardware components in these old samplers, you can certainly try reducing the number of bits in your sample, as this can give you all sorts of interesting variants on your original clean sound. From the chapter 21 folder, we're going to load up the sample nice snare and open it in sample edit. So I guess we'll load it on number 9, nice snare, and then we'll go to sample edit. Wait. Sample edit. That's it. Nice snare. Excuse me. So we're gonna preview it with pad 10. I don't know why they chose pad 10. We still had 9 open. I chose 9. You can put it on 10 if you'd like to follow with them. The type of processing we perform in sample edit is effectively destructive. permanently changes the sample, unlike the type of non-destructive changes we make in program edit. The only way to undo sample edit processing is to use the undo button or /history. But this is only available in your current session. If you shut down your MPC or you load a new project, the undo history is gone forever. So hit the process button at the bottom right of the MPC screen and select function bit reduce. Okay, that's new to me. I've never even noticed that in there. Bit reduce. Okay. The bit depth setting here refers to the bit rate of the sample. We'll leave this set at 12 for the moment. Remember, it is usual to work with 16 or 24 bit samples in an MPC, so anything with a lower bit rate will have reduced quality. To perform the bit reduction, press do it. So it's already set to 12 here. We hit do it. By reducing it to 12-bit, you'll not initially hear an obvious change in sound, as the reduction to 12-bit is quite subtle. It does degrade your sound by a small amount, and will tend to give your drums a very slight bit of extra grit without making obvious changes to the sound. However, to take matters further, let's try 4-bit reduction. Wow, okay. So let's return our sample to its original 16-bit. State by pressing the undo button. Okay. Now select process, bit reduce, set bit depth to 4, and now hit do it. At 4-bit, the bit rate change is more obvious. You'll hear it affect the reverb tail of your sample, which will become crackly and very bitty. This can be heard much more clearly if you listen with your headphones. To counter this problem, let's utilize some more sample processing options. In the main sample edit screen, adjust the endpoint to approximately 9400. $9375 it is. Alright. It doesn't need to be completely accurate. So we're going to preview it. I have it on pad 9. You may have it on pad 10. This has removed a lot of the distorted snare tail. However, this abrupt end to the snare isn't great, so we need to create some kind of decay. To tackle this issue, we could simply adjust the amp envelope when assigning the sound to a pad in a program. For example, use the decay value to apply a fade out to the sample. So that's what we did earlier. However, in sample edit, we can also apply a permanent fade out. So you can hit process, select the function fade out. As the name suggests, this editing function will fade our sample out by gradually decreasing the volume to 0 by the time it reaches the end point. There's an opposite acting function, fade in, which acts similarly, but fades the sample in from the start point. There are three types of fade out possible: linear, log, logarithmic, and exponential. And each one reduces the volume to zero using a slightly different shape. So linear would be just like take you straight down at a 90-degree angle. Exponential would be more of like a slope like that. And logarithmic is more like a bubble taking you down like that. So a linear type fades out the sample very gradually. And EXP, exponential, fade starts gradually, speeds up in the middle, and ends more gradually. And logarithmic, starts fading quickly, then slows in the middle, then finishes quickly. As we have the undo feature, we can try out all three fade types to see which one gives the best results. So try each one, pressing undo after previewing each one. So we'll do the linear. Log. And exponential. So you could hear slightly the different fade on that. After trying out all three fades, they felt that the linear one gives the best results, certainly in terms of providing a snare sample with no distorted or hissy tail. So the end result is a nice gritty snare sound. So hit process, discard to remove the unwanted sample data at the end of the snare. So we're going to actually add the linear first, and then we're going to go process, discard, hit do it. It gets rid of that extra bit of unwanted sample data at the end of the snare, so it cleans it up and makes it the full length. And now you can see your sample as you created it. So we're gonna be, let's see, saving individual samples. There's currently no way to save individual samples within Sample Edit, but if you head over to Main and hit the pencil icon on the program row, there's an option to save current sample. This should save the last sample MPC. So as long as you go directly from Sample Edit to Save Current Sample without hitting any pads along the way, the MPC should offer to save the sample you were last working on in Sample Edit. Otherwise, this option will save the sample assigned to the most recent pad hit. I do, however, find this feature doesn't always work as expected. Alright, so what are we even saving it? Like, do I want to save that? Saving individual samples. Where do I save my individual samples? Do I have a folder named samples? I probably do. Here we go. So, what are we going to rename it? It's called Nice Snare before. We'll call it Ice Snare for fun. And we'll save that. Boom. Alright. Load up the program bitreduction.xpm. You'll get that in the chapter 21 folder. Now on pad A01, they have the original Nice Snare sample. On pad A02, is their version of the 4-bit sample we just created in sample edit. 4-bit snare. Hit pad A03. This is the nice snare sample, but with the bit crush drum effects added. You can do that in program edit, effects, drum effects. You got the bit crush right here. You can adjust it there. So here they set the bit crush to 4 bits. What am I gonna do? 4 bits? Let's set it up to 4 bits here. There we go, up to 4 bits. It gives a completely different type of crushing effect. Much shorter and not as warm or crunchy. On pad A04, they've applied the Air Lo-Fi plugin to the same nice snare sample. So on pad A04, the Air Lo-Fi plugin. Where did they find that? Lo-Fi. Where? Here it is. Air Lo-Fi plugin. They've also shaped the envelope to try to tame the bitty decay. Which one do you prefer? I honestly couldn't tell the difference, but maybe the first one. While I like the flexibility of the program edit effects. Oh, hey, Sound Guy Wix. How's it going, man? Yes, I've made a ton of beats with the MPC already. I've got a whole selection of beats I've made, but I never actually went through the MPC Bible, so I didn't know all of the details on how to actually to make changes and do what I wanted to do. So I thought it'd be kind of cool to go through the MPC Bible and learn at the same time as teaching other people that want to tune in. So yeah, I do have a ton of beats, and they're maybe not as good as they could have been had I known all this stuff that I'm learning in here. So I'll probably take everything I learn and go back and revisit those beats at a later time, and probably adjust some things and make it sound a little bit better. Yeah, hopefully I'll throw on a track at the end of the show here today. Oh, we're coming up to the last few minutes actually, so thank you, Andrew. Yeah, I guess Andrew's heard a few of my beats so far, so yeah, I wonder how much we have left here before. Yeah, there's not much left. I'll finish up and then I'll toss on a beat. So where was I? While they like the flexibility of the program edit effects, they still find the bit reduce sample edit process to be the superior method. That said, if flexibility is important, you really can't beat sound design and program edit, as it's completely non-destructive. All your settings are there and can be continually pulled up and tweaked at any time. This just isn't possible with sample edit. Okay, so I'll leave it there for today, and we'll continue tomorrow with chapter 21, sound design tricks. Please follow, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to let you know that I'm here every day, 10 to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. I'm Philly Good, rocking on the MPCX, and this is the Goods Fam on Twitch. And I'll toss on some beat I made. Let's see. I'll save this first because we created a new one today. Yeah, I just didn't want to lose the progress, so we can continue tomorrow. So I'll load up a beat I made now. I'll just pick a random one. I don't know if it's good or not. It's just a random one I loaded. But I hope you all have a great day. Yeah, it's probably one of my earlier ones. Pretty basic. Thank you for showing up, Andrew. And thank you everybody who tuned in today. Thank you, Sound Guy Wicks. I super appreciate the follow and for tuning in. And we'll catch you again tomorrow with chapter 20. What are we doing? Sound design tricks. It's probably one of the more fun chapters that we'll go through. So, yeah. Hope you all have a really good one. And please don't forget to jump in the chat if you're here. I'm trying to get 5 people in the chat during one stream. That's my goal, so hopefully that can happen one day. Maybe not today. Looks like there's only 2 viewers, so alright, thanks a lot, guys. I'm gonna raid you into another channel, so just stay tuned here, and I'll patch you through to the next guy, somebody that I probably enjoy most likely. So peace out, guys.